Hello YouTube, Peter from the bedroom here. You could tell Junky with this. No, I forgot. I deleted that track with this. Okay. Yeah, I can just keep on going on and on and on, just, repetitively on that one. I didn't know what it was because I don't memorize these tracks and I'm changing them all the time. The track before the one I put on, track before that, I did the same thing. I put it on, I went to, hear what it was, and then whatever pops in my head, and then nothing's coming up. Because some of them take a little bit to start. Some of them I gotta be, as soon as I step on the pedal, I gotta be right there. Like The Fire from Hendrix, backing track. And I look and I see the red light is on. I'm like, that's right, I deleted number 6. So let me go on. So I didn't like whatever that was. I hit the next one. I'm like, whatever this is gonna be. I hit it, and then, red light. That was deleted too. I try to change it up. It's like a scale. On one hand, I want to play the stuff that I like playing and I'm really familiar with, because I'm tired of hearing the from people, saying I missed a note or I was out of key. Then on the other hand, I just want to say screw it and just let it rip. And one take beanie, whatever it is, it is. Just go with the punches, roll with it, kind of. This is how I spin with it. So, yeah, I grabbed this puppy off, and I'm really trying to maneuver this kill switch, dead switch. trying to invent ways to use it, like I did, you know, back in the day with, you know, and then the. See, I can't even do it with my shoulder. Yeah, those days are gone. One more time. Yeah, those days are gone. That shoulder movement doesn't happen anymore. Plus, I stopped doing it back in the day because sliding down the strings was eating up the picks. And these picks, these medium jazz picks by Fender, were hard to get back in the 80s and the 90s. They were hard to find. Now I buy a bag of these. Buy a bag for like 40 bucks. Sorry, I buy a bag of 40 for like, you know, $10 or something like that. And I just drill my little hole through it and I'm good to go. All my guitars have one of these picks right up in here. I've got like 10 out hanging on the wall right now. So yeah, luckily for me, I could, and again, Amazon. The other thing, methylene blue, you got to get it. They say take 20 drops. I take 12 after lunch, and man, does it really help the memory. You know, I've mentioned that before. So I'm so glad that, you know, the Hodge twins got a damn good show for you today. I'm glad that I was like, they turned me on to it. And I looked it up and I did some YouTube videos on it. I'm like, yeah, that's worth a shot. And I'm glad I did. So this amp is super quiet. Let me just put this, of course you get the hum because I have the gain on. But man, it's really nice. And I have the overdrive on and it's quiet as can be. And I accidentally left this on for 24 hours. I hit the standby, I ran outside. My landscaper was here and I always bring him out something to drink and we shoot this outside. And then I came back in and just totally forgot about it until the next day. And I was like, oh, I was so bummed out. Turned it on and it even sounds warmer. Sounds a lot better than when I first got it. Just you know, I shouldn't say a lot. It sounded a little bit better. The sustain, the drive on it, and again, it's the first time I'm ever using reverb on an amp. My Fender Princeton, my 1975 Fender Princeton that I have sitting over there, those are original tubes. They're a little glassy. You could hear it when you know, of course there's slapback and reverb, but you hear that glassy tone on the tubes. But once you play it, you know, it's such a warm, sustaining amp. And my buddy that had that, again, he's the one, I said, professional musician. He had that for a couple of years. I forget the logistics about the whole thing. He stayed with me for a couple of months, and he was like humping around all this stuff. He had a Chevy Citation back in the days, in the 80s. And he's humping this stuff around, and I think he asked me once, you know, can I take your amp out? And I bought that secondhand from, you know, a guy I worked with at Patent Gems in Medford, Long Island. It was Dave's amp, and it was in mint condition. The guy got it as a Christmas gift and never played it. So I was like, yeah, okay. And all the wear and tear on it is from him gigging with it for a couple of years. And then he, you know, I mentioned the story. I really wanted it back, and he just gave it to me. So in return, I gave him a guitar because I felt bad. He felt like he owed me something. He didn't. So he had that amp, and He played, I'm not going to get into names because people might figure it out. Anyone up in New York, we all know one another. All those musicians know one another, know of them, know a family member. The cousin, I'm friends with the cousin of Ace Frehley from Kiss. I'm friends with the cousin of and the family of Steve Vai. My CDs were from Steve Vai. He used to sell them at Focus 2 Guitar Center on Long Island, and Tom Bavacco, the owner, used to let him hang out at the store and sell them. And I don't know if he taught at the time, but he was in Nassau County, and then they moved out to Suffolk County. And so we all know one another, or knew them, met them, or know a family member, some kind of connection. So with those chain links, in mind, I don't want to mention any names because I don't want it, getting back to him. Because we talk about it all the time, but I never thought to, mention it on a video. But what had happened is he was in this band, and everyone, this was a hot band on Long Island, and they were working like Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, and that's all he had to do. And the band was so hot that everyone wanted them. Everyone wanted them to play at their wedding and this and that and whatever show was going on. So he played everywhere. And he started the band. And then the two brothers, maybe shouldn't have mentioned that. The two brothers started buying equipment and adding it into the band. And then they said, well, all the equipment is ours, so we're going to take the band. We're going to be in charge of the band. And my buddy was typical musician. He was like easygoing. He didn't like it, but he was, he's not going to fight over it. And he got pissed and he left. So, well, if that's the way it's going to be. He left, and he took one of the singers. He had a male singer from, I think he sang with the Spinners or something, one of those bands back in the day. Then he had a female singer. Both of them were amazing. So I think he took them, and I think he took the keyboardist. That was a real talented keyboardist. And then they were kind of like, dwindling down. And they were, they were spending all their money on the white stuff. So what had happened is, back in the day, I was also, because I did a lot of, how can I put it? I worked the private sector. So anything you could think of where they need someone with my talent to get paid to do something. So I was also paid to be the cooler, of a repo guy. And he would get the letter from the bank. He would hire me to go out and just be, like the buffer, the cooler between him and the owner that's going to be pissed because, he's losing his vehicle because he didn't pay his bills. Kind of thing. So we used to hit these guys at like 5 a.m. so that we don't have a confrontation. And we went to the guy's house, nice big house, being in the music industry, paid well, real nice house. And he had the band van that I didn't know at the time. It was just a van, in my opinion. And then a car, a sedan, I think it was. So I'm like, what do you want to grab first? And he says, let's grab the van. It's bigger, it's harder to hook. And so we take it and we go. So then the next step is you go to the precinct, the nearby precinct, and then you have to, let them know that it wasn't stolen, that you have it, show them the bank letter. You got to inventory what's in the car. Luckily for him, there was nothing in the car that was going to get him arrested. And then as we're going through the inventory, I'm looking and I see the band cards and I see the name, and I was like, wow, oh man, my buddy's going to love to hear this one. Because now I got to go back and get the car. Same morning. But at this point, it was really like, I didn't care. I was really wanted to show him, hey, you know, this is what happens. What goes around comes around. Bad karma. So I went up and I knocked on the door, and he opened it up, and I said, I repoed your van. I'm here for your car. Here's the bank note. You could either give me the keys or I could drag it out of the driveway. Whatever you want to do. And he also hired me one time to videotape the band. And I saw them play a couple of times because, you know, my buddy was the lead guitarist and he started it all. And he came to the door disheveled and didn't even recognize me. And he nods his head. He shuts the door like, you know, a crack. And I stand to the side in case he's going to open it and have a weapon. And he opens I see the door swing open, and I see him opening up the screen door, and the arm comes out, and he's handing me the keys. And I got in the car. We drove about 2 blocks down, hooked it, booked it, and that was the end of that. And I remember that day calling my buddy and telling him, he was like, oh man, that's great. Well, what happened is shortly after that, because he lost his 2 vehicles, he couldn't get around. Apparently he wasn't paying his mortgage at the time, because all the money was going up his nose. And he wound up robbing a 7-Eleven, I believe with a pellet pistol. And he wound up doing some time for that. So, yeah, now, those that know of what I just said, of the, you know, the different, what had happened, the scenario, the things and who they were, they could pretty much piece it together. But I hope they don't say anything on the comments. My buddy was so happy, you know, elated basically that I did that. We still speak about it. But he did say that he did run into him after he got out, and he said, you know, the anger was gone, the grudge was gone. You know, whatever he did, he got tenfold back, you know, for losing his car, losing his house, losing, you know, his family, and going to jail. So I thought that was pretty kind of him. Because you can't hold on to stuff, right? You gotta let it go, man. That's about it. I just pulled this off because I wanted to play with the dead switch. And I think I'm going to make this tremolo straight like this one, where you can only dive, you can't pull it up. I don't know, because as much as I like using, it's not in the picture, this one here and pulling up on it, it bothers me that OCD, that the tremolo is not flush with the guitar. It's not straight. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and a better tomorrow. Yeah. Adios, amigos.